Welcome back. We've got a whole lot more territory to cover, so we're going to dive right into the next question on sex. Next question. My wife doesn't enjoy sex like I do. When she does have sex, I feel disgusted because she's just going through the motions and isn't enjoying it. What can I do? First of all, I want to remind us, and then I'm going to let you all answer this too. Sex is a gift from God. Sex is a beautiful gift from a gracious God. It's given to a married couple to first bring God glory. He says, I made that. It's supposed to be fantastic between you two. But secondly, it's for your good pleasure, for you two to enjoy each other. So when one of the two isn't enjoying it, it's not that he's doing something wrong and until he gets this right, I can't really enjoy it. Maybe the problem is that you've never heard from a parent or from a pastor, you can enjoy sex. Please enjoy this beautiful gift of sex that God has given you. Maybe you grew up under some really harsh and really unbiblical teaching, and now you as a Christian couple have a little bit of work to do so that the person can see sex in the light that God sees it. That's one of the things that I would say when the person asked, what can I do? But what other advice would you offer to this brother who's struggling?
I mean, Jeff, you bring it up, and the hard thing to do, even when you're married and as much as you know about each other, I mean, you live together, so you know just about everything there is about the other person, but it's still really hard to have these kind of conversations with your spouse, right? I mean, it's still hard to talk about this kind of stuff, but to me, like, this is a question of, wow, I mean, as a married couple, if you really love your spouse, if you love your husband, if you love your wife, you owe it to them to have this very difficult conversation of, all right, how do we both enjoy this? And, you know, there could be a lot of factors in play here that we don't know about. Maybe there was a past issue or a past incident that we don't know, that the spouse doesn't know, and it's affecting how you're able to enjoy this gift from God. I think it would be appropriate at this point now of saying, all right, hey, husband or wife, I need to let you know something that happened to me a long, long time ago that I've not overcome. And it's affecting our marriage. It's affecting how we're able to enjoy one another. And I can't do that until I get over this. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get over this. It could be a situation like that, Jeff. We don't have that back history, but that could be a thing that's at play here.
She was molested in the past, and now she really wrestles with sex. And brother, as a co-heir with Christ, you're going to have to help that woman walk through this, and she may never feel about it the way you do, because somebody stole something from her a long time ago. What else?
You know, barring some unknown medical problem causing the discomfort or the whatever, I think you hit it. I think there's all kinds of things that impact the heart and mind that have an effect on whether someone is able to enjoy that relationship together. And it requires conversation. It requires the willingness to be honest with yourself. It requires the willingness to be honest with your spouse. And ultimately, it is important for your marriage. And so it's the kind of thing that you have to deal with. You can't just let it just sort of, well, this is just the way it is. No, there needs to be something to help.
We really need to move along, but this question feels like it has so much pain in it that we're going to spend just another minute on it. And here's something that I want to call your attention to. If you ask this question, I want to ask you to consider the statement, like I do. No two people on the planet will necessarily enjoy sex at the same amount, nor enjoy sex the same frequency, nor enjoy the same things sexually. So if you're saying, my wife has to mirror me completely when it comes to sex, that doesn't happen in any marriage. So I don't know that that's what you're saying, but if that is what you're asking for, I need her to want it as much as I want it, when I want it, the way that I want it. That just doesn't work because two human beings are different. So if the like I do means that, you may be asking the wrong question. If the like I do means she seems to have no interest in it, and it's a terrible burden to me in our marriage because I want to honor my wife and I want to honor God, and this is a struggle. brother, our hearts go out to you and our hearts go out to her. That she's not able to enjoy this good, gracious gift that God has given you two as a Christian couple within the confines of marriage. Is it okay not to have sex in marriage?
1 Corinthians 7, only for a short while.
Right.
I think Paul is clear, says that you should come together as a husband and wife and then not abstain except for a short period of time for dedicated reason for prayer and then come back together. I think to not have sex as a husband and wife introduces a lot of risk to your marriage. And I think that unless there's some major medical problem or some kind of thing that's preventing sex from being able to happen well between the two, I think sex should definitely happen in a marriage. How often, how frequently, how regularly, that's a whole other question, but yes, it should happen.
My easy answer to this question is yes, it's okay not to have sex in the marriage. If it's mutually agreed upon and if both of you are still satisfied personally. Not every couple needs to have a lot of sex. Some couples have very little sex and are still satisfied physically with each other and physically satisfied personally. So, but the overarching principle is what you just heard from Alan in 1 Corinthians, and that is you have to agree to this together. Like, it's not okay for one of you to not have sex and the other one to want to have sex. That's not cool. In fact, the scriptures say that's not cool. So, I don't even know where to go with this question. It's actually a statement, then a question. Our sex life is broken. I don't know. Does that mean you can't fit together sexually? Because the next question says, how do we fix it? And if I don't know what you mean by broken, I have no way to answer how do we fix it. But the statement is our sex life is broken. And let's just be honest. The person who wrote this, woman or man, is hurting with this statement. Our sex life is broken. How do we fix it?
Communication. There's a mind-body-spirit connection in all of us that we're never going to get around. And so when a man and wife come together as one flesh, man, you've got to come together in one mind and one spirit as well. If sex is the high point of intimacy, it's never going to add up physically if there's not also a spiritual intimacy, if there's not also an emotional intimacy between the two of you.
Thank you for saying the word communication, Joshua. Dude, I want to pull my hair out when couples come to see me about sexual problems and they don't talk. I'm like, I don't get it. In the bedroom, in the act of sex, it seems like you could pretty much be as intimate with each other as possible. But then when it comes to talking about what you just did in the bedroom, you act like 3-year-olds. Grow up. Talk about it. Tell each other what you need and tell each other what you like and teach each other how to be better lovers. Good gracious, man. Do that for your spouse. Be open and communicate very openly about this. That's something that a Christian marriage needs to have the comfort to do. Teach each other and talk to each other and be open with each other about it. Communications may be the answer to this.
Yeah.
What if my husband doesn't find anything romantic at all? This is a woman who's hurting.
Yeah.
It's true. And maybe that brother would be romantic if he could be romantic, but he's trying as hard as he can, and man, I'm thinking and nothing is coming to mind, so I don't know what to do next. I'm going to answer this one for you, ladies. Do you know who the subject matter, the one person on planet Earth that understands what you find romantic better than anybody else on the planet? Do you know who that person is? It's you. Teach your husband what you think is romantic. And you're probably sitting there saying, if he really loved me, he'd figure that one out on his own. And what this question is saying is, he does really love you. And he's a moron romantically and can't figure it out. So be very, very specific with him and just say, I need you to run me a bubble bath. I need you to buy me flowers. I need you to buy me a box of chocolates and write this on the note and leave it on the table at this date on this time. And if he loves you and wants to be romantic, he will take copious notes and do exactly what you find romantic. But to expect him to be able to speak your romance language and never help him to figure out what that is, That's asking too much of the brother. And by the way, most of us guys struggle a little bit on the romance area, so hook a brother up. Will you help a brother out a little bit here? He may be trying and just, you ain't giving him anything to work with.
I would also add to that romance may not, it doesn't always have to be the flowers, the chocolates, and the notes,
The bubble bath.
or the bubble bath, excuse me. Sometimes romance is doing the dishes,
Yep.
you know, or watching the kid for a little while so she can have some senile, quiet moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is the most romantic
Did you just
thing.
say the word senile?
I
Like
did say
she's losing
senile.
her
I didn't
mind?
mean to use the word senile.
She just
Quiet,
lost her mind.
Some,
She was
some
around the
beautiful,
children so much, she
quiet
just lost her
moments,
mind.
right? She's senile because she's, you know, she's
She
had
lost her
the
mind
kids
with
all
those
day.
kids all day long.
But sometimes that is the romance. It doesn't. It's not always the chocolates and the candies and the bubble baths. Sometimes it's the simple little things in the day.
Doesn't have to cost you any money.
Doesn't have to cost you money. Do the dishes when you get home. Maybe. Hey, occasionally, maybe even cook dinner. I mean, it's the simple things oftentimes, right? It's the things that lets her know you're not taking her for granted. Romance is not rocket science. Romance is simple.
Ladies,
But-
tell your man exactly
That's right.
what to do. And then when he does it, go put on Facebook for all of your female friends. This is what my husband just did for me. And they're going to look at their husband and say, why won't that
That's
woman
right.
do for me
That's
what
right.
she did for him?
That's right.
And it's because you told him how to do it. And he loves
did
you and
it.
wants to do it for you.
That's right.
You got to give him a little bit to work with, will you?
Scratch his back a little bit when he does something good. Just give him a little pat on the head, and he'll be amazed at the response you'll get.
And to
We
that
are-
woman, I would
we
say,
are highly complicated.
I'm sorry that you're having to go through this,
Yes.
but do not hear his lack of understanding as a lack of love. That's not it.
Yes, thank you. Because he's not romantic, it just means he doesn't speak the romance language you do. For him, romance may be a power saw and
That's
a
right.
football. That may not be romantic for you. Maybe it is.
I would recommend a book to read to help potentially in this particular topic. It's Five Love Languages.
By Gary Chapman.
If you speak one love language and she speaks another, you may be going, well, I tell her I love her every day, and she's like, he never says he loves me. Well, it's like you're speaking French and Spanish to one another. So it's a great book to help kind of recognize and unlock some of those nuances of our relationships.
Hey, that's a little bit of what we're trying to cover with you today. There are more videos coming. Check them out on our YouTube channel.